Progress invoicing, super exciting stuff. This is Karen with 24-Hour Bookkeeper, and I'm going to take some time to show you how to do progress invoicing in QuickBooks Online. I am going to show you how to make sure it's turned on, how to actually create the estimate, and then progress invoice against it and manage what you have left to bill on that invoice or that estimate. So the first thing we need to do is we need to turn it on. So we're going to go up to the gear icon, and you're going to click on Account and Settings, which is under the Your Company column. And when that pulls up on the left-hand side, there will be a sales option here, and then go about halfway down and you'll see Progress Invoicing. Click anywhere on the line and make sure you turn it off. So mine's already on, which is why you see the green. And then once you've done that, make sure you click Save. Sometimes we turn it on and we move on and then it doesn't work. So this is extremely crucial to have the option or the functionality to pop up for progress invoicing to work. So in your construction business, if you are not aware what progress invoicing is, it allows you to bill in milestones or portions of your estimate towards your construction project and throughout the project. So I'm just showing you the technical aspect in how to manage that in QuickBooks Online. Whether you're using projects within QuickBooks Online, which I do not have turned on here for this demo, or you're using third-party software and you're actually doing all of your invoicing and your estimates in QuickBooks, this is when you would want to use what I'm about to show you today. So what we need to do first is we need to have an estimate to bill against. So I am building a house that is $400,000. And I have an estimate that reflects that. So an estimate is a non-posting transaction in QuickBooks, which means it actually doesn't make your numbers change on your financial reports. Your profit and loss in your balance sheet will not reflect any numbers that are put in the estimate functionality of QuickBooks Online. You can, however, pull reports that explain to you what is out on estimates and what's still open and what's closed, but again, it's not going to affect your numbers. So if you are managing them, we want to do estimates in here. So to create an estimate, you would click the plus button and you would go to the customer column and you would click on estimate. This is also assuming your chart of accounts is set up and you have your item list. Okay, so I'm already past all that. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick a customer. So of course I'm going to pick John Smith. And I am going to put my whole estimate or my bid in here. You can assume that you're going to want to use phases and then maybe do an estimate per phase, but you really don't have to do that if you're progress invoicing. You're going to throw your whole $400,000 house in here, and depending how you have your cost codes set up, you're just going to go ahead and line item everything. So I'm going to go ahead and just I'm just picking the first couple items here for architectural, $5,000. I'm going to pick project management for $25,000. Oh. And let's just say I'm going to do permits and fees, and that's going to be $7,500. Okay. All right. So now I have my estimate. My estimate is set to pending. I can go ahead and, call it accepted. That allows me just to put an accepted date. So let's just do that. Oh, I put it by the wrong area here, by Karen I'm sorry, that's not true. John Smith on 7/30/2020. Okay. And obviously I can email these estimates. I'm not doing that. I'm just showing you the progress invoicing portion. So my estimate, I'm just going to throw back to June 1st. That's fine. So I have $37,500 house. Let's pretend it's $400,000 for the sake of example. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click Save on this estimate. At the time that I create the estimate, which I would suggest you do when you've received the job, you would obviously arrow down and hit Save and Close or Save a New to enter a new estimate. But again, for the sake of this example, I'm just going to hit Save. Once I hit Save, you'll notice here next to my 37.5, an option will pop up for me to create an invoice. As you know, in QuickBooks Online, you have 3 ways to do one thing. So this is just one of those 3 ways. I can click the plus sign and create an invoice. I can go to the customer and create a transaction, but I'm going to do it right from this estimate. So I'm going to hit save. Once I've done that, my create invoice option is here. I do have the option to move this estimate to a purchase order, but we're doing progress invoicing. So I'm going to create invoice. When I've done that, it'll give me one of three options on how I want to create the invoice against this estimate. I can either choose to bill the entire $37,500, which would be every line item. I can pick a percentage of each line item to say, okay, I'm 25% complete on the entire project, and it'll take 25% of every line that you create on your estimate. Or if you really don't do that, you can create a custom amount for each line. So I'm going to pick custom amount for each line because I'll have the option to either bill the whole thing or create a percentage against certain lines. So I'm going to go ahead and click this option, hit create invoice. Okay. So let me get this out of the way. So now I'm in my actual invoice of what I would send to the client, or if I don't send the client, it's being recorded on my side to be able to manage what I need to do. So the first thing I should mention is I have a linked transaction, which means that I can click here and then it'll bring me back to the estimate to take a look at it. Otherwise, it actually produced all the line items that I have left to bill on here. So I don't have the address and all that figured out. So right now I want to go ahead and bill a portion. So I'm going to click in this due column, and it's going to open up a box. Because I hit a custom amount, I can say, okay, my line item of architectural is $5,000. I might want to only bill 3,000 of that. I just type in the number, it puts the quantity in there, and then it shows that the amount that I'm billing against this. I can also choose a percentage. So maybe I don't want to do a percentage of the whole, project or the whole estimate, but I do have a certain line items and I want to leave the rest of them open, which I think could be a little bit more typical. So I'm going to bill 25% of my architectural, and I'm just going to go down the list, and I'm going to bill 25% project management. And my permits and fees, I'm going to actually just, out of the 7,500, I've only used 1,000. I've only had 1,000 in incurred costs, or that I'm billing the client. So I'm going to put $1,000. So now my total invoice for the customer is $8,500, which shows a percentage of the original estimate. If I hit save, I'm going to show you what the invoice looks like if I were to send it to the customer. Okay, so if you look right here, it actually does put in a rate initially. Now I actually can take this off and remove the columns by customizing the invoice itself, or I can change the name and do whatever. I did not put a description or anything like that, which you would have to add. So in this case, it shows the cost codes because I have it set up this way, and then the line items. Okay, so now I've saved this invoice, I've sent it to my customer, everything's great, we're happy. So now I'm gonna go ahead to John Smith. So I've saved this, I'm gonna save and close this. If I were to go to see John Smith's transactions, I'm gonna hit sales, click on customers, and then I'm gonna search for John Smith just by typing the name in the search bar. And don't forget that if you kind of screwed that up, put the wrong name, you can always click your arrow and it'll open up all of your customers on here. Okay, so in this case, I have my estimate of $37,500. I've got my invoice, which I produced, of $8,500. If I go back to my estimate, I'll actually see the same estimate. And if you notice here, I've got an invoiced column and a remaining column. So because I've invoiced a portion and I went by percentage, now unfortunately it doesn't show me what I've done, before until I go to do another invoice. It doesn't say, unless I would type in the description, this was 25%, this was 25. But again, if I were to do a calculation, I would know that. Or maybe I have good record keeping. So in this case, I've invoiced $1,250 against my $5,000 line item, and I have $3,750 left to bill. When I've actually invoiced that whole amount, closed will have a check mark here. to let me know that there's nothing left to bill against that. So you, and maybe I'll have to add another video on going into detail on how to customize your invoice from the construction standpoint. If you wanted to add phases or different pieces, add a subtotal, we can do all of that. But it's just not in this video. So check that out when it comes out. Okay, so now I've got this amount of $37,500. I've invoiced $8,500 and my remaining is $2,900. Now let's say I'm in the next phase and I'm ready to bill again. I can open up my estimate, create invoice. I have the same options. Do I want to bill the remaining amount? Do I want to bill a percentage, or do I want to do a custom? If I were to do a custom amount again, now the thing that doesn't happen here is, if you notice, it actually doesn't tell you what is left to bill. So that is information that you're going to have to come up with on your own ahead of time, whether you look at other information or you open up another, you duplicate a tab and can see that side by side. If I were to bill the whole $5,000, now keep in mind I've already billed $1,250, and I hit save, it'll tell me that I'm over the estimated amount. So it's not like it's going to let you do that even though you don't see it. But it doesn't say, hey, you've got $1,250 left, or I'm sorry, $3,750 left to bill against this line item. I'll have to just know that ahead of time. So it's the same process that you would repeat. Ideally, you would have had an agreement with the client that notifies them when billing will occur. And if you are using this through QuickBooks and doing your invoicing this way, this is a great way to milestone bill or to bill through phases or percentages throughout your project without using anything else. Catch you next time. We have a bunch of videos on different QBO tips and tricks and some general construction topics. So we will catch you next time.